Hi, my name is Cody Wardle. I'm doing a Giving Voice to Values presentation. It's presentation number 2 for Professor Christensen's ethics class. The case study that I read was about a situation that occurred at Walmart and about a manager whose name was Shane. And Shane was put into an ethical dilemma or a challenging situation that seemed to be limited on information. So the situation that Shane is in, he, as the manager, was tasked with making a turnaround with theft that was occurring at one of the stores. And so he was tasked with making a difference. And as Shane went in to address some of these things, the difference that he made was more significant than even he imagined. And as he started to look closer at the numbers that were being reported inaccurately. And so he did a little bit of research, and somebody who had experienced something similar informed him that they knew where the discrepancies were coming from. So Shane was now in a really challenging situation where he had to decide what to do. Should he address the situation head on and possibly put his job at risk, possibly put his boss, his job at risk? How should he report it? Who should he go to first? So we're going to just discuss that briefly. A couple things as we look at situations like this, there's always questions to consider, and the order of operations is really important. Should you gather more information first, or should you raise the information that you have to a certain person? And the order of operations makes a difference when you're talking about giving voice to your values. One other thing to consider is who are the stakeholders. The stakeholders in this situation happen to be the consumers. So the consumers are impacted significantly by theft and loss. The consumers end up footing the bill for the theft and loss that happens at stores, especially retail stores. So as these things occur, those costs are pushed back to the consumers, the prices go up. So I think Shane, he owes it to the customers to solve this issue. I think there's also stakeholders that it would include some of the employees that he works with. Their jobs are at risk, including his job if not handled appropriately. So in all ethical issues, the question is, what do you do? What's right and what's wrong, and how do you figure out what is right and wrong? Sometimes in these situations, it's easy to jump to conclusions. It's important not to jump to conclusions until all the facts are surfaced. So some of my suggestions, if there's dishonest behavior taking place in the way people are reporting and he's being set up as the fall guy, one thing that he can do is he can get more information. At this point, he's talked to one other person that has had a similar experience, but I think he could talk to some of his own employees and find out, okay, who's instructing you how to report these numbers and where is that information coming from? The second thing that I put on here is, does he have all the facts? And I think that comes with asking more questions and doing more follow-up. My suggestion would be to go to his employees first. Then he could find out who trained them, who's asking them to report. The risk he runs there is, are those employees then going to go back to his boss and potentially undermine him? But I still think that's the right thing to do, is just start gathering his facts. The other thing to consider is what's at stake for Shane if his boss is the person who's been instructing people to report wrong, and his boss is setting him up as the fall guy. So I think that's important because Shane wants to have information before he brings it to his boss. I think he wants to have all his ducks in a row. I thought this slide was appropriate, which way, what to do, who to talk to. The important thing is that Shane doesn't sit on the information. I think he needs to do his good faith effort to act on the information that he has, and ultimately that's all that he can do. I would also recommend for Shane to go and find out what the organizational complaint procedure is. I'm sure a company like Walmart has a procedure in place that he should follow. And I think he should follow that. I think that will keep him safe in the end. If he's got his information and he's following the complaint procedure, that will set him up for success. The last thing that I'll say is Mr. Cook, who is his boss, had previously launched an investigation, and I think Shane could benefit by going through the right procedures and including Mr. Cook in that at some point.